Back by popular demand. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry, I've been slacking on that one. This is another tale of one man's muckies, another man's money. It is a part exchange that's come in, and I am definitely going to sell it. I was unsure, and then Tim has convinced me. Now, this is a VW Passat CC, and it came in part exchange against a VW Passat CC. Now, if you haven't seen the video before, the one that this is coming against was a bronzy sort of gold car. I bought it from sadly a deceased estate, and it was a car that needed a bit of love. I ended up spending thousands on that car to get it right. I thought we'd nicked it. In the end of it, we paid a fair price for that car, but we ended up doing oil and filter, timing belt, disc and pads front and rear, tyres all the way around. It had a wing on it, because there's a dent on the wing that was too far to go. We had to do it properly, so we did wing, door, painted the side of it. It was an absolute peach when it was done. The guy was really happy. Anyway, the chap that bought it has owned this Passat forever, as long as time has been around. So, normally, I know I'm trying to get into the higher end stock. Normally, I'd go just trade it out straight away. However, Tim has convinced me that this is going to be a beauty. But let's have a look at all the problems, because unfortunately with cheap cars come problems. So if we focus on the negatives, and then we'll look at the positives, and I can show you the reasons why I think it's going to be worthwhile doing. Positive, to start off with, exactly what I said I wasn't going to do, mud flaps. Classy. The car is black. Black cars that have been around for a while need a lot of love. So this is going to go into the detailing bay. It's going to need a full machine polish, decontamination. There are a load of swirl marks and bird etchings in it. If you don't know what a bird etching is, it's when a bird defecates on your car and you don't wipe it off in time. So there's loads of stuff that we need to do on there. And it's going to go into the detailing bay, which is in here, which is where Tim is at the moment, currently working through one of the too hard for now piles. Yes, that video is going to be coming to you very soon. However, the boot is probably, I think, the worst part of this. Yeah, so you can see you've got like bird etching here and a load of scratches on it. I think it will polish. There's nothing obvious that's gone through the paint. And other than that, there's nothing offensive about this car, except for potentially that, depending on which way you sway. The wheels on this side are in good condition, which is weird, because normally the passenger side get abused. I just spotted a curb mark there, actually. Oh. Wheel needs doing on there. And then on this side, the wheels need doing. However, 4 Continental tyres, and we always say you can tell a lot from a car by its tyre. Good tyres, good car. However, this is the biggest problem on this one, and I'm not quite sure how to get around it. Unfortunately, and the previous owner was mortified about this, he's caught the bolster getting into it, which is really upsetting, because that, you might be able to sew it. Apparently Tim's mother is a very good sewer? Seamstress. Where did that come from? But other than that, there's nothing sort of cosmetically that's massively a problem. Obviously it needs a good clean here. It would appear that this has fallen off the mirror, which is meant to go on here. Yep, that's not going back on. So we'll probably remove those. But the guy that owned this was a real enthusiast. He'd had it for, I want to say, 6 years. So, good news on this car is the service history. However, I've just realised we've started doing things differently around here, and the service history is upstairs. Let me go grab it. This is Tim, who's come in and is mucking about all the systems, but he's right. We started to keep service history out of cars now, just so if anyone rings on a car, I can go, let me just grab it from the office. However, service history is really strong on it. 2014 car, done in 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, including timing belt that was done at 28,000 miles, which is great. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Literally on the button on service history, and I know that the sort of buyer of one of these, I nearly put it in there, I won't, I'll put it there, is going to be really impressed by that. However, it's going to need a lot of love. Now, whenever you're buying a car, be it new, be it old, be it borrowed, be it blue, not a wedding thing, always check it. So I'm going to quickly run it through vehicle score. Now, truth be known, I've already done this, but it'd be interesting to show you. So the car registration is DG63 YGX. Now, Vehicle Score is a free application to use, and what it'll do is it'll give you a score out of 999. 999 being the best, and 1 being the worst. I had to think about that one. This one has scored 741, which is pretty decent considering the car is old. It's actually above average by 114. The only thing that's jumping off the page initially is that the tax expired 3 days ago, which is of course true because we put the car into trade 3 days ago when it came in. So everything's all right on there now. You can pay for a full check on there, which I will do, and make sure I do it on everything. It's about a tenner, and it will show you anything that you need to know. Has it got finance outstanding? Has it been written off? Has it had number plate changes? All the stuff that's kind of important when you're making a decision on buying a car. We always use Vehicle Score. It's certainly an application that's worth using. And if anything, the free check-in system's quite fun to use. And it'll tell you what the value should be, vaguely, which we'll go on to in a second. Link in the description below. So, typical of a car that's been well loved. It's got locking wheel nut key with it. It should, I'm just going to double check and make sure that everything, oh, bloody hell, that opens quickly. Now, the guy unfortunately was a golfist, which means that there is quite a bit of debris in the boot here, which I know Tim will really enjoy clearing. However, it's got a full-size spare on here, which is good. Is there a toolkit? Would it be under there? Toolkit, locking wheel nut key in the front. Yeah, everything's in there. This bloke was exactly the sort of bloke that you buy a part exchange off, or you keep the part exchange. He's just cared for it. Aesthetically, needs some love. But other than that, I'm quite happy with this car. What's in here? Cobwebs. No cash. Bags of cash would be good. Here's a place you should always check when you're buying a car. I know a bloke that bought a car out of auction and found that needs greasing. It's very much like an Aston Martin. Do you know that Aston Martins don't have those bits where it sort of drops onto the next thing? You can just open your door and it'll stay exactly where you opened it to. So similar. So this is the place you always want to check for money. No. He found £1,000 on a car he bought out of auction. He got more out of the sunglasses holder than he did out of the car. Anyway, right, I think the obvious thing to do here, before we take it any further and spend any money or any time on it, is get it out on the road and have a little bit of a road test. 2 litre diesel, should pull well, shouldn't smoke, shouldn't be any lights on the dashboard, and the crucial thing that I'm bothered about is making sure the clutch and the flywheel feel nice and solid and it's not shaking you about. Should get on the road. Getting close to the microphone can pick you up. Read the phonetic alphabet out for me, please.
Okay. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Gamma.
Correct. Golf.
Golf?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, let's get out on the road. First things first, that clutch felt all right. Didn't feel too high because the expensive thing on this, if anything's going to go wrong, is going to be gearboxy sort of thing related. Clutch, gearbox, flywheel, that sort of thing. That's your only real weak link in these. The 2 litre diesel engine from VW has been around for years and it is a bloody great engine. Only thing you need to keep on top of really is timing belt changes and obviously your obvious oil changes. But other than that, great engine. This thing will do, undoubtedly, on a good run, high 50s, maybe 60 miles to the gallon. You can see why he's stuck with it for a while. The reason the guy sold it is because, unfortunately, he was having a bit of an issue health-wise to do with either his leg or his hip or something like that, and because he's a golfer, he was struggling with the gearbox up and down off the clutch, and then obviously playing golf, and it was causing him a few issues. So, genuine reason for sale, which is always good to see, and the fact that he's gone into another Passat CC that we've sold him, and an auto, his story lines up, and if you had a Passat and it was causing you nothing but headaches, you wouldn't buy another, would you? So again, it's all aligning cyclists. I mean, they could at least pedal. I haven't got a problem with cyclists. What I've got a problem with cyclists is when you get stuck behind one that isn't pedaling. That annoys me. Now, it's not the best spec'd car in the world, to say the least. It doesn't have a lot on it at all. It's not an R-Line, R-Design, whatever. It's not even got heated seats from what I can see. So I believe it's got aircon. Has it got aircon? Yes. Took me a while to find it. So yeah, air conditioning. Engine sounds smooth, feels smooth, gearbox as well. This will make a good, cheap daily driver for somebody, and it is genuinely a car that I thought, you know when you buy a cheap part exchanging, there's nothing more liberating than driving round in one. And just, especially when there's fuel in it, it's left me a quarter of a tank here. Mine. So there's no knocks or bangs, it's just gone through an MOT and not had any advisories on it. Tim's got a point with this, because the problem, and this is the hardest thing in my game, is because I'm trying to hone in on what I want to do is nice performance and prestige cars, sort of north of 20, 30 grand, because that's where truthfully the margins are. And I am a bit of, admittedly, a margin hunter, because we haven't got the facilities to be knocking cars out. We've not got enough room, etc. So we can't be doing, 10 cars a week, or how many cars a week that some of these bigger boys do, where they can afford to take a margin of £1,000 out of a car, upsell them a load of products on the back of it to get the margin back up. That just doesn't work for me in my business. So I need to be hunting big, heavy stock with good margins in and good cars, because also, truthfully, it's what I like to see when I walk into work. I like to see a Porsche or a Bentley or whatever, just like I like it. I'm a petrol head. So it's easy with stuff like this to go, well, it doesn't fit my business model. However, like with that Seat Ibiza that we sold recently, do you remember I did a review on that car? That car sold within a week. Genuinely sold within a week. I said it would be sold in a couple of weeks. We did a couple of grand on it. It was a nice little bit of bread and butter. And the month that we've just had is kind of put us to a bit where I think we're just over break even for the month, which, considering everything that's going on, is I'm okay with break even months at the moment. A lot of people are not getting a break even month. And I know which side of the fence I'd much rather be on. Oh, it's got auto hold. I thought there was an issue there with the gearbox. So it's easy to look past these things, isn't it, and go, that just doesn't suit my stock portfolio. Now, what I can do, and I've noticed recently, is when I'm uploading cars onto Auto Trader, eBay, Gumtree, Car and Classic, all the other sort of different platforms, of which we're on most of them now, I can deactivate the link to the website. So essentially, if you go onto my website to look at what stock I've got in, you won't see the cheaper cars. However, if you're on the open market and looking for cars for sale, you will see it. So if you go on Auto Trader and go, I'm looking for a VW Passat, you'll find the car, you'll link through and you'll see our website, etc. But it won't be for sale on the website, if that makes sense. Now, that works for me because I think the problem with it is, if you are buying an expensive car and you see that the garage sells a bit of everything, you maybe start questioning whether or not they actually know what they're doing, or whether or not they are totally invested in their model, if that makes sense. Whereas in the world that we're in at the moment, you can't be picky and choosy. If you can make £1 or £2 on a car, you've got to make it. What's the point in putting this into trade and having someone else take the profit out of it? Because genuinely also, I think the sort of buyer on this car is probably going to be fairly sensible. It is a 2-litre diesel engine with low mileage, low owners, really nice service history, and when we're finished with it, it's going to be in lovely condition. So it's the sort of car that I'm going to hopefully attract the right sort of buyer to, rather than, like the Seat Ibiza that we sold recently. But to be fair, the guy that bought it was lovely, but he was a young lad, and you do just know he's going to be tainting it about as his first car. Whereas this, I think, is going to be a more mature buyer. So the more I think about it, the more excited I'm getting about this car. So I had to pull over there because I had somebody ringing me, but what we'll do is get the car down the bypass and see how she performs under load, because the only other thing that could potentially cause you a headache is maybe turbos on these, but it certainly feels like it's boosted in gear all right. I hate electronic handbrakes, but fortunately it's got auto hold, which does make life a little bit easier when you're setting off up a hill. I'm going to hit the local quarter mile. Let's see how she performs. I just want to make sure it feels good in boost. That's all I'm bothered about. Come round the corner and into boost. Bang on. Absolutely bang on. So they're 140 horsepower, so they're obviously not the fastest thing in the world, but that felt fine. Came into boost really neatly. Didn't feel like there's a lag at all, and it just felt progressive like a turbo should do in one of these. Just felt absolutely fine. No issues with that whatsoever. And just interestingly, just on this test drive, even though I've had it running in the showroom and it's a flat cold start, and all I've done is literally just potter around town, and they've just pulled over then to take a phone call, 35 to the gallon in the first 10 minutes of driving. They're really, really good, these. Someone's going to love this. You just need a bit of love from us first. And also have noticed that on like the A-pillars and the headlining and stuff, there is just a little bit of stainage. Is a good word. So we'll have to get the steam cleaner out. I think in a day this car could be turned around and made into quite a bright thing. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, you might not already know, but we don't like talking about numbers because it's a little bit crude. However, in the spirit of being transparent with the cheaper stuff, I'm going to tell you what I paid for this car. I gave £4,000, which I think is bloody good value. However, retail I think is probably between 6 and 6.5 grand. So it sounds like a big margin. However, when you take your VAT off, take your costs off, this unfortunately is the brutal reality of buying and selling second-hand cars in the UK. However, I reckon there's still a margin in this car. So the job is to get it looking bright as a button and up for sale. So if you'd like to see a video on me making a car better, we can do. We might do a follow-up video on this one actually, before it goes into stock, just because I find cars like this, you know what it is, with the performance stuff, it's all very exciting and glamorous, but there's something about the raw deal of a part exchange and sort of making it prettier and getting it right that I find more exciting nowadays. I don't know why. Even though the margins aren't exciting, there's something that just feels more honest about it. And also, we paid him the money he wanted for the car as well, so he's genuinely happy with his Part X price. So this is what makes the world go around. So I'm going to head back to the unit now. Speaking of cheap cars, if you're not already aware, we've got a bit of an issue with the Tigra that we originally bought for £350 off Gumtree. Spent a load of time, work, effort, money, getting it right with a view that we're going to stick it on eBay and the highest bidder was going to win it and the money was going to go to charity, or at least the profit was going to go to charity. Well, we're now raffling the car because that guy never turned up to the party. So there's going to be a link in the description below if you do want to buy a ticket for the Tigra raffle. It is 90p a ticket, and also you can have a free one on me as well if you use this code FREETICKET. So it's going to run to the end of November, and any money that we make above and beyond 400 quidish, which is about what it stands me at, is all going to Andy's Man's Club. And also we have had some more donations as well on top of it, so we're about 200 quid in so far. I think we might do all right on that one. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to drop this off for Tim now and he can start giving it some love with his machine, and we'll see you on the next one. So it's a pleasure, as always, doing these videos, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you have subscribed, a massive thank you to you, because we breached 40,000 subscribers last week, and it is quite a satisfying feeling when you put so much effort into providing content that we're hoping people are enjoying. Obviously, it's landing well, so thank you for that, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.